halt. But let me read the story. At least 10 people have reportedly been killed by Israeli artillery fire at a food distribution center at Jabalia, a refugee camp in northern Gaza, where Israeli tanks and troops are continuing a ground offensive. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees said shells hit inside and outside the center on Monday morning, while some hungry people were trying to get food handouts. The Israeli military said it was reviewing the incident, adding that it operates only against terror targets. This is the part that I always don't understand, and that's the defense that the Israeli armed forces, or that is the justification that they bring out, which I always do not understand. Hundreds of people are reported to have been killed since the military said it was launching the offensive in the area and two neighboring northern towns 9 days ago to root out Hamas fighters who had regrouped there. The UN said on Sunday that more than 50,000 people had fled the Jabalia area, but the others remained stranded in their homes amid increased bombardment and fighting on the ground. The offensive had also forced the closure of water wells, bakeries, medical points and shelters, as well as the suspension of other humanitarian services, including malnutrition treatment, it warned. The UN said it had not been allowed to deliver essential supplies, including food, since October 1, with two nearby border crossings closed and no deliveries allowed from the south. So that is it. So I mean, it's the hypocrisy for me, because you're saying that you are targeting Hamas fighters, but you disallow the UN from distributing food to people who are malnourished, people who are famished, people who are very hungry. I don't seem to get it. And that is always the justification that they give whenever they do these things. You go and bomb people, people die, innocent people die. Your targets, the Hamas fighters, you don't even get them. It's other people you get, and then you come and tell us that, oh, you were just bombing these people and blah, 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 blah. Let me start with you, Auntie Ruda.
Good morning to everyone watching, all our viewers. Morning to Mr. Lanchira Martin, wherever you are, and members of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. You know, when you want to talk about Israel and what it's doing to the Palestinians, you sometimes have to be careful, because your emotions can make you say things that would later come back to probably haunt you. I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu has just decided to wipe out, if he can, the Palestinian people. Because since this thing started from October last year, his main targets have been women and children. A lot of children have lost their lives. In fact, civilians, as one would say. You go out looking for targets to hit, and you're not hitting targets that you know, because you claim to know where Hamas is, where Hezbollah has its strong points. But you're hitting at hospitals, you're hitting at food depots, you're killing health workers, you're killing journalists, babies, and it doesn't matter. You feel you're doing the right thing. So when you say that President or Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to have a problem with reasoning, he doesn't have a conscience, people would say that you're being too harsh, but that is the right thing. What is happening in Palestine is genocide and nothing else. You are bombing people, and people are even queuing for food. You're even bombing refugee sites. They take refuge somewhere and you still go there and bomb them. They started, I don't know if you watched from October, as soon as they entered Gaza, they cut off water, they cut off electricity, they cut off telephone, they cut off everything. So in effect, you wanted them to starve to death. And that's exactly what is happening. People are starving to death. Children, women, the elderly. They have nowhere to go. You ask them to evacuate. They evacuate. Where are they going? You still follow them to where they are going to search for refuge and bomb them there. I think that the whole world will have to come out and condemn Israel for these acts. That is really disheartening to think that the Arab world seems not to be helping. Regardless of what you think, regardless of how you see this whole situation, think of the children, think of the women, those helpless elderly. It seems that Arab world leaders are more concerned about their comforts, because if Saudi Arabia or the UAE, for that matter, if they were to pull out their investments in America or to put an embargo on such things like the oil that they supply the US, I am sure the US will sit up. Because America is also supporting Israel. And it looks like the whole NATO is fighting one group. That is the Lebanese group and the Palestinians, by reference, which is very sad. America is being double-faced. I'm sorry I have to say this, because that is the truth. You cannot come out and say you are negotiating for a ceasefire, and meanwhile you are sending troops, you are sending ammo, you are sending equipment to help Israel. It means that you are not being fair to the Palestinians. The Palestinians have a right to a state, they have a right to survive, and therefore the two-state policy must work. And it's about time that the whole world sat up and demanded that Netanyahu stop whatever he's doing. Because even now, at home in Israel, the Jewish people are calling him out that enough is enough. If 1,000 plus Jews lost their lives, and now you're actually slaughtering more than tens of thousands of other people, what makes your fight a legal fight? It doesn't make sense. So for me, enough is enough. Israel must know that for the fact that they are being supported by other countries, if they were to stand alone, they couldn't stand Hamas, nor the Hezbollah group, nor any of those, or Iran for that matter, if they were to stand alone without all these Western powers supporting them. So denying children of food makes it rather very, very, I don't know, wicked, to say the least. They're being wicked. They're being inhuman. If anything at all, children deserve to be looked after, and food and water are essentials during such situations. So Netanyahu should be called to order. Israel should be punished for this kind of behavior. I think that taking Netanyahu to the ICCU is not, the Criminal Court of Justice is not something that we should not think about, because what he's doing is actually genocide. He wants to wipe out a whole people, and it is not right. And to think that he's even bombing peacekeeping areas. Why do you bomb peacekeeping areas? Granted that there is a buffer zone between you and the Hezbollah. Granted that peacekeepers have to cross over the two sides to get to Lebanon. Even that, you know where they are. Everybody knows where Hezbollah is. Everybody knows where the Lebanese side is and the Israeli side is. Why go out there to bomb even places close to where there are international peacekeeping people? It means that, excuse me, you don't have respect for law and order. That's what it means. You don't respect anybody. You don't respect any international conventions or laws. That is wrong. I am a bit worried because we have Ghanaians doing peacekeeping in Lebanon. UNIFIL, they are there. And they do come to Lebanon to relax and to do other things. So for now, I think that the whole world must condemn what is happening in Israel and ask Netanyahu to stop the bombardment, ceasefire, and allow Lebanon and rest of the people to have peace.
Okay. Good morning, President. Good morning to our cherished viewers. It's really unfortunate that in times of war, the main targets are not the people that are affected as far as the war is concerned. As we can all see, Israel is fighting Hezbollah, but the people who are caught in the middle of the fight are not necessarily these people. They are mostly children, women, and some civilians that have nothing to do with the fight. Sometimes it's quite disheartening and surprising that in the midst of all this confusion, UN seems to do little to bring the two sides to the table. You know, during the Afghanistan war, a lot of people suffered. There were some accusations about the then president and the need for America to go to Afghanistan. Later on, you know, there were stories of the fact that America was being misled and that sort of thing. And I think that what happened there, that today you go there and there's no peace, there's always some bombing here and there as a result of the earlier war that started, should not also happen in Palestine as we are seeing today. I will say that if Israel is targeting an enemy, which is Hezbollah, and he feels that Hezbollah is out to destroy or to harm Israel, then there should be a proper targeting. Now, I know technology have advanced, and so if you are targeting, or if you have a target that you want to hit, you should be able to have that precision to hit your target, and not necessarily, you know, more or less just throw in something to attack everybody as is being done. Because per the story we just heard, people who were going in to get some aids and now being targeted. I think if you look at it from human point of view, that is inhumane, because these are individuals who are not holding guns. These are not individuals who are not attacking Israel at that particular moment. And for you to just send missiles to kill them, I think it's not acceptable. And I think I will call on the whole world to intervene in this. This war has been on for some time now. I think it's over a year now, and a lot of harm has been done. And I don't think that as a people we should just sit and watch on for one country to attack another, virtually trying to wipe out Palestine. I don't think we should all sit down. So I'll call on world leaders that they should intervene, just as how we are all condemning Russia-Ukraine war and calling for peace. The same way we are also calling for peace in the Middle East, because the people who have been affected are not the target. The most affected people are always children and women, and I don't think that as human beings we should sit and watch our fellow human beings go through what Palestine is going through. And for the fact that the people that are being protected, who are the Israelis or the Jews, are also calling for peace. I mean, there have been a number of demonstrations, and these individuals, for that matter, they are to cease fire. Because I'm sure when you go to this country, some of them Israel married to a Palestinian. And so the fact that they are living together, they see each other as I mean, one people, you cannot just see your fellow human being going through what these individuals are going through. And they have demonstrated. And I think that as a leader, you have to listen to your people, because these people are the people that he is governing. And so if they are asking him to cease fire, he should do that. And also, whilst asking Israel to also cease fire, it's also important to tell the Hezbollah, because for when you look at the beginning of the fight, Israelis were taken hostage, and that led to the beginning of the fight. So while saying that yes, Israel should cease fire, I think Hezbollah should also cease fire. I mean, people should learn to live in harmony. If it's about land, it's about occupation, I think the world should support these two countries, you know, to really demarcate their boundary, because Middle East fight has been there, I think, when some of us were kids, you know, and every time it keeps coming up every now and then. I mean, they cannot continue with being on each other's neck, killing each other here and there forever. There should be some end to this war. And so America, I know America have an interest in this. Europe or EU should have an interest in this. And I think that they should speak up. They should help to resolve this, because war and conflict would not bring any benefit to anybody. Though some individuals may have some interest to supply ammunition for cash and things, but when you look at the benefit of the masses, you would not say that war is in the interest of anybody. And so I call on world leaders to intervene so that there will be a ceasefire in the Middle East.
Right. Thank you very much, Professor Benedicta Yayara-Fosu-Mensah. If you just join us, you're watching the morning show. This is the newspaper review segment of Good Morning Africa, live on Pan-African Television. We are streaming live on Facebook. Make sure you join us if you can't watch from your TV sets. Also on YouTube, we are live over there. Send me your message, 0559919-802, 0559919-802. That is the number to which you can send your text messages and of course your WhatsApp messages. Right, let's proceed to our next topic. We are going to be having a conversation on galamsey, the never-ending conversation on galamsey, except that former President John Agyekum Kufuor, I beg your pardon, he has added his voice and he's calling for academic action to ensure that galamsey comes to an abrupt halt. Let me read the story as captured in page 6 of today's edition of the Hawk. It says, former President John Agyekum Kufuor has fired a rallying cry to the academic community, urging them to step up and tackle the pressing issue of illegal mining known locally as galamsey in Ghana. In a passionate address, Kufuor pointed out that while politicians have been in the spotlight battling galamsey, their efforts are insufficient without the backing of academia. He called on scholars and researchers to harness their experience and analytical skills to devise effective long-term strategies that address this growing crisis. Speaking at a special gathering at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Kufuor highlighted the urgent need to confront illegal mining head-on. He painted a grim picture of its repercussions on the environment, including the destruction of water bodies, widespread degradation, and loss of arable land. This is not merely a political issue, it's a national crisis that demands a collaborative effort. We need a multidisciplinary approach, and academia is vital in this fight, he asserted. Kufuor emphasized the importance of critical analysis in addressing the responsible use of natural resources, insisting that immediate action is necessary to find sustainable solutions. And so this is the rallying call of former President John Agyekum Kufuor. I have my personal, I have my very personal reservations about this particular story. But of course, we all hold former President John Ajay Kufuor in high esteem, and I mean, he's a statesman. When he talks, you listen. But maybe I don't know, but maybe it's just me, but I'm getting lost. What fight can the academia put up when those at the helm of affairs, the political class, are the ones taking all the decisions, and they have decided that they won't do anything to stop it? So I for me, my question is, where does academia come in this? What do they have to do? What role can they also play to ensure that this menace of illegal mining comes to an end? Where do they come in? I'm seriously at a loss. Maybe Auntie Rhoda can help me.
Yeah, I understand before. A bit because I guess when he's talking about academia, using academia as well to solve this problem, he must be looking at probably one, academia should be able to educate miners and all Ghanaians on the safer ways of doing mining. Maybe also academia must do some form of research to find other ways of doing safer mining and sustainable mining. I'm looking at Kufuor's message also coming up on stuff like, if you're looking at the medical field, if you want to use academia or professionals, and you look at the medical field, maybe would it be okay for doctors to come up with talk shows, clips, to show the mining areas, especially those who are within those mining enclaves, pictures of the deformities and the other things that happen when they use the chemicals that they use in mining. Also, I'm looking at a situation where it is a fact that in reclaiming the lands, it is not just a question of us going to bulldoze the soil back. You need scientific analysis of what has actually gone into our soil, how long it's going to get us to have a safer environment, like safe soils to replant the crops that we intend to plant. Because, for instance, if you do not get some form of scientific analysis and you just go and probably just put back the soil and then tell people, go ahead and start planting, maybe the chemicals are such that they can stay within the soil for so many years, and therefore that would be affecting us. Probably I'm looking at it from that angle, that Kufuor feels that education is very important in this situation. We should be able to educate every Ghanaian, all those who want to go into mining, the villagers, the miners themselves, to know the harm that they do to the environment when they do unsafe mining. It's rather too late now, but it's better late than never. So probably it's time for us to look at it from that angle, that maybe from our schools and our curriculums, can we have a chapter that talks about mining, and at the same time have people trained to be able to talk to young people growing up who might also have interest in mining, or who can go home and talk to their parents that I learned in school today that you don't do this when you want to mine. If you're doing surface mining, this is how you do it. Maybe those things will help us. That's the way I'm looking at it, that maybe we should have mining, a sector on mining in our curriculums.
But so let's now look at what is being done politically to, as it is, bring a stop to this canker. The president government has made moves to repeal that legislative instrument, LI 2462. I hope I'm correct with the number.
2462, yes.
2462. When Parliament reconvenes, that would be done. You look at the deployment of armed men, the military, into these mining areas where illegal mining is taking place. Forest reserves and water bodies have been declared as red zones, and so people are not supposed to be going there. But my question has always been that these are measures that we've sought to implement before, and I mean, it never worked. What are we going to do differently this time around to ensure that these measures actually, work?
First and foremost, the political will from both sides to fight this menace is not forthcoming.
Where is the both sides?
If you say both sides, okay. Yes,
where does the NDC come in?
The NDC. The NDC comes in because, you see, you have to come, although NDC, I think, are saying that, yes, we would allow you to do galamsey safely. Yeah? We hear the MPP also, and all this is because within the mining areas, they have quite a large following. And then we have MPP also saying we will not let it stop because there are no jobs, and we think that the youth should do this as a means of livelihood. The political will is being able to say, I am banning it for a year or two, which Alan Tramatin says, let's ban it for a year or two and sort the soil out, the river bodies out, the forest out. Let's do that. If you cannot see that this thing is dangerous, it is taking us nowhere for us to allow for galamsey to continue. It doesn't matter if people are going to sit back and say you have taken food out of the table of others. It's the long term, what it's doing to our children, what it's doing to those yet unborn, what it's doing to us, because our water bodies are affected, which means that our health is affected. So if we do not now say something specific and concrete, as to say, that I am not going to allow you to do this until we have sorted each other out, until we've sorted the question of reclaiming our forest zones, reclaiming our rivers, and reclaiming the land, then it means that we are getting nowhere. You're talking of the military. I think that a whole battalion should go in there, because 100 people is not enough. Looking at the vast area that this galamsey is going on, we need about 800 to 1,000 people. That way, they can cover up more space, and within a short time, we'll be able to get something. There is this talk of the military also being involved. If you look closely, people also feel that they also have an interest in it, or not just the military, but security agencies. Some of them also have an interest. But the larger the number, the more difficult it is for people to trade out. You understand? If you take 50 people, 20 people, they will easily be able to be manipulated. But if you take a bigger number, you should be able to get this thing done. The political will, when the commander of the group that has gone in, when he was asked, he said they are going to be there for 2 weeks or so. And then maybe another 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks, which is not even, it's not something that we even think is going to last, which means that it's just playing politics with it. So what we are saying is, say that they are going to be here for the next year, and these are the people that we are going to put in there, and we are getting all the equipment out of the mining areas, taking inventory of them, keeping them safe, making sure that nobody tampers with them. There's no need burning them. Get them off, store them, take inventory, make sure that they are safe, and then work on the land. And this is where Kufuor's issue is coming in. Working on the land, like I said, it doesn't mean just go and push the soil back. You will need some form of analysis to be sure to tell us how bad the soil is. And how long it's going to take for the chemicals that have been used to go. We don't know. We don't know how long mercury stays in the soil for. We don't know how long cyanide stays in the rivers for. So we need at least professional advice to be able to deal with this issue. But as for the galamsey, I'm saying that if there is political will to stop this thing, we can do it. We are not against small-scale miners who are licensed, who are doing the right thing. We are against those who do not have licenses, who also maybe have licenses and are doing the wrong thing, using chemicals and going into water bodies and destroying our forest reserves. Those are the people we are dealing with. We are not saying that the large mining companies who are registered, who do the right things, should stop. That's not what I think government is saying or what Ghanaians are asking for. I don't think AGC is using cyanide and mercury, Ashanti Gold fields. I don't think they're doing that. I don't know, the names change so much, but I know it as AGC. I'm looking at a situation where galamsey has been fought before, and that's where I got to know that it wasn't galamsey, but it was Gaza and Cell, yeah. And that was from Obuasi. Yeah. You understand? Around 1990, when we had the Operation Dragnet, and the soldiers went in there, then I got to know that whenever it rains, children and adults, everybody goes to pick the little ones that are left over from the operations of the Ashanti Gold Fields. So these are things that should at least educate us on. That galamsey doesn't mean go and dig. It is for you to just go and pick up the little pieces that are left on the soil, and not to go and desecrate the environment any way you want to do because you want gold. Because at the end of the day, they dig somewhere and then they don't find anything and they leave a hole, and then they go to another place. I think that we need political will to fight this thing. If the government of the day really believes that it wants to fight galamsey, it must come out with a more tangible plan, specific. No 2 weeks and then maybe another 2 weeks. No. If it's 6 months, let's say that it's 6 months, nobody is to be seen around the galamsey areas. But if you are doing it 2 weeks because you want the votes, then I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, because you cannot take the lives of Ghanaians for granted just because you want votes. We cannot have that. And it is right to think that even the small-scale miners themselves have started helping the military to fight the galamseyers, which is a good thing. This is the time to get them together. This is the time to let them understand that, look, you can come back to your work, and we can employ you to help with whatever reclamation is going to take place, so that you can still get some money for yourselves. But to say that you are only sending soldiers in for 2 weeks to destroy whatever equipment they are using on the water bodies, and then they will go and you have to go and have another meeting and think whether another 2 weeks just because of an election, that is wrong. I think that is not acceptable to any Ghanaian.
Yeah. Right. Prof.
Yeah, well, I agree with His Excellency John Ajako Kufuor, and somehow also disagree with him. I've just been asking myself, where does academia comes here in the fight against galamsey? Galamsey has been in existence for years, but we are seeing this level of destruction during this particular regime in the last 8 years. And some of us are saying that galamsey, if we want to stop galamsey today, we can stop galamsey today. We only need our president to say that everybody stop mining, stop galamsey. We want to sanitize the system. And then I believe nobody has the audacity to disobey our president, because he has all the powers to stop galamsey. So galamsey, if we want to fight galamsey, then we should be talking about political will. Political will to stop galamsey. The president kept his presidency on the line as far as galamsey is concerned. We have failed the fight against galamsey. He constituted a committee. There were a number of Operation Galam Stop and a number of them. At the end of the day, there was a report written by Professor Frimpong Boateng. And in that report, there were some damning revelations. Sadly enough, we had our Attorney General rubbishing the report, and that there was no enough evidence to prosecute the people mentioned in the report. So the question is, are we really fighting galamsey? Akunta Mining, a company belonging to the Ashanti Regional Chairman of NPP, was mentioned as a company involved in illegal mining. We had our president defending the company. So how can we fight galamsey if the people who are neck deep in this activity are being defended by the people who should be fighting galamsey? And so when I heard when I read the storyline that he said academia should come in and help, I asked myself, what are we able to do, or what is academia able to do when people are fighting, engaged in galamsey? The issue is not that people are not aware about the devastating effects of galamsey. If you go to fetch water and you have muddy water, the issue is the people engaged in galamsey, are they saying that they are okay to see their family use the same water to cook for them, give the same water to them to drink? Are they okay when they go to the field and all crops on the field are destroyed? Are they saying that they are not aware about the consequence of this? I don't think it is so. This whole issue of galamsey, I see it as greed, I see it as selfishness, I see it as just something that people have become lawless because the people who should be putting these people in check are conniving with this individual. You know, I watched a documentary, I think on TV3, where a guy was interviewed, and he said when the military or when the security people are coming to where they are mining, they send them a tip-off that we are coming. So before they get there, they all leave the scene before they get there. So it looks like the whole system seems to be deceiving us that they are fighting galamsey. And this is somebody who was involved in galamsey. He said that when the security are coming, they give us tip-off that we are coming. So it means that the public is just being deceived that we are fighting galamsey. Well, I agree with him to some extent that yes, the academia can help fight galamsey. And for now, UTAC has been the only voice of conscience that UTAC have declared strike to send signal.
You're striking?
Yes, we are striking.
Now, I wanted to know if you
signal. Yes, yes, we are striking to send signal to the government that as the conscience of the country, we cannot sit and watch our environment being degraded, destroyed with such impunity. Not too long ago, we had our president attending the climate change summit and called on world leaders to support Africa as far as climate change and its impact is concerned. Now you ask yourself, if after saying or giving that good flowery speech and we have our forests, according to rainforest report, about 18,000 hectares of primary forest had been destroyed just in 2022. So the issue is, we know that our forests are the ones helping as far as climate change is concerned, because they are able to sequester carbon. And if we cut down this tree and allow a lot of carbon to be emitted into the atmosphere, how then do we go to World Summit and ask that they should support us, because Africa will be the most hit as far as climate change is concerned, when our activity is also helping to exacerbate climate change instead of mitigating climate change? So you ask yourself, are we deceiving ourselves, or we are in to protect ourselves? Because we know, of course, that even the microclimate kind of benefit us if there are a lot of trees, because that helps in rainfall, that helps to cool the atmosphere, and that helps also to clean the environment, because trees are known to kind of also clean the atmosphere in terms of taking pollutants from the air. And if, because there are few greedy individuals, we allow our forests to be destroyed, just for us again to turn and say that help Africa, because Africa will be the most hit as far as climate change is concerned, then we are being hypocritical. And so, for me, I will say that the issue of illegal mining had to do with political will. If politically, politicians are sincere to the people they lead and say that we are stopping illegal mining, we are stopping destruction of our environment, then the academia can come in. That yes, so while the environment has been destroyed, we need to reclaim it. So we then go into remediation, where we talk about how do we reclaim the soil using maybe different technology as far as remediation is concerned, talking about phytoremediation, bioremediation, fungal remediation, or microbial remediation. That is where the academia come in. How do we clean our water body using different technology? Then academia can come in with some research, first knowing the levels of heavy metals or most of these pollutants in the atmosphere, and coming up with specific plants that are able to remediate or able to take out these contaminants from the soil. And then also coming in with some alternative mining technology that people can use in order to reduce pollution of the environment. But the issue about digging the earth, the issue about washing mud into our rivers, this is a political will. And until our president says that we are stopping galamsey, I don't think our universities are able to say that we are stopping galamsey. Well, we can join the fight by saying that, okay, if government will not stop the destruction of our environment, because we see the environment as something we cannot tamper with, because there's a saying that the day the last tree dies, the last man dies. And so if we sit and watch our environment being destroyed, then we are just waiting, you know, to die ourselves. And it is not just about cutting down of tree, but it's about destroying the ecosystem, whether it is the aquatic ecosystem or it is the terrestrial ecosystem. It's like all the ecosystems are being destroyed. And these destruction, we are talking about genocide. So sometimes you are tempted to equate the people engaged in this illegal mining to more or less be people who are murderers, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to die because of illegal mining. You know, someone was just telling me that for him, he does not drink water from the tap. Then I asked a person that, so which water do you use to cook? Do you drink beer? Do you drink malt or any drink in the country? Because these brewing companies rely on Ghana Water Company for their water. Yes. So nobody should be deceived that they are exempted as far as this menace is concerned and its impact on our lives are concerned. That tells us how devastating the issue is. So nobody is exempted. You can be rich. You cannot bring water to do everything in your home. You cannot say that you are even importing drink unless you want to really do that. So I will say that, yes, I agree with His Excellency Ajeku Kufuor to some extent, that yes, we need some education. But I will say that the academia come in when people stop washing mud into the river, when they stop digging our forests, when they stop illegal mining. That is where we will come in with solution to remediation, how to remove pollutants. But first, I would plead with him that as a statesman, he should call on our to act and act fast. It looks like it's almost late, but the lip service, again, you know, people predicted that as we are saying that we are fighting illegal mining, we will have some military men going to burn few shafan and some excavators to tell the world that they are stopping or they are fighting illegal mining. But the people who are the owners of these equipment are left off the hook. And sometimes you ask yourself, how are you fighting this? Because if you burn the champagne, the person will import the champagne into the country. If you burn an excavator, the person will still be 2020. Before the 2020 election, we saw a number of excavators being burnt. Did that stop people from sending more excavators into the forest? Did that stop people from sending champagne on water bodies and washing mud into our rivers and chemicals into our rivers? I don't think so. But I believe if the leaders or the owners of these equipment were arrested and prosecuted, probably it would have stopped. So if you leave the people off the hook and you are burning equipment, it is lip service, just as they did in 2018, 2019, 2020. And we are still here. In fact, the situation now, I believe, is worse of what we saw in 2020. So it means that what they did in 2020 was just a camouflage. And we heard the famous statement, Party Hiasika. Is it because of Party Hiasika that's why the government, and for that matter, the president, have been quiet all this while? I mean, the people that you want to rule, would they not have to leave before you rule them? Would you want to rule a nation that its citizens are sick? Is that what we want to have? Do we want to spend more money on medication or preventing that from happening? I mean, sometimes it's so mind-boggling when you see leaders pretending to be fighting an issue, and you can just see that it's more pretense. And then you ask yourself, I mean, why do they think that we cannot read in between the line? His daughters have been alleged as being neck deep in this mining issue. There are people in the Flagstaff house who are being alleged to be neck deep in this. What has happened to these individuals? Would we wait until everybody is sick, until everybody is having kidney failure before we fight this menace? Why are we trying to put politics ahead of human life? It is sad. So I will plead that His Excellency John Ajeku Kufuor once again plead with our president that he has all the power to stop this illegal mining. But for we academia, we can only come in when it is stopped, and we try to restore the environment by doing some remediation to get the land back to productive use.
I actually want to ask you a question. So about the strike, other timelines, did you specify that they are striking from 10th to, let's say, is it going to be a month-long strike, or what are you waiting to see?
It's an indefinite strike. We want to see measures. We want to see physical things that show that, yes, the president has actually stopped illegal mining. Because the point is, why are we working? Why do you go to work? You go to work to earn something, you know, to take care of yourself. But if at the end of the day, you work, you get resources, and you have to use all that resources to take care of your health, then it's as good as staying at home. And that is why we are saying that we need some concrete action from our president. Sadly enough, labor union has chickened out. And, you know, people came out. I think the first person who came out, I just forgot his name, who said they went to NDC to collect some money to organize the strike. I don't know. So the question is, did they go to MPP to also take money in order to discontinue the strike? Is that the case? So labor union is watching its members to fall sick because somebody wants to win 2024 election. Look, with or without this issue of government stopping illegal mining, that will not save them. As for the opposition, they are already in opposition. They are only waiting to hand over their handing over note. If they think that by allowing all of us to drink contaminated water because they want to win power, I don't think Ghanaians are not seeing in between the line. We have suffered enough. 8 years of hardship, 8 years of deceit, 8 years of doing propaganda. I mean, everybody have seen them. His Excellency Mahmoud Baumia said what? He was going to arrest the city. Today the city have broken jail. They said what? They are breaking it. The NDC has seized the 8. And so it is obvious that they are going to opposition and nothing can save them.
Right.
No matter what.
Right. Thank you very much. Auntie Rhoda wanted to say something.
I was just going to say that I've always said that we should fight this galamsey without political lenses. We cannot sit here maybe and say that it's only NPP people who are involved in galamsey. Whatever happens, there are also NDC people in it. We read about such news that there are also NDC people in it. The best that they can do for us, that is the NDC and the NPP leadership, is for, and in fact all presidential candidates, they should all sign a pact and agree that we are going to ban galamsey for a certain period of time, which they would agree amongst themselves as the most viable period, and then for us to reclaim our lands and then also reforest forestry areas. So I think that if all of them, if the NDC and the MPP think that they really want to save Ghanaians from all the damning things that galamsey is bringing to us, they should all commit for us to sign a document that will be binding on all of us, that galamsey will be a thing of the past, and that we are going to reclaim our lands, and we are going to do galamsey, no longer like galamsey, but small scale mining, which will bring its bring us all benefits, and which will be sustainable. This is what I think. For all of us to have peace, that pact must be signed. Because NPP doesn't want to sign any pact, or is running away from signing a pact because it feels that it's going to lose votes in mining areas. NDC is also playing also trying to say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. No, we won't take that. All of us, including my presidential candidates and all the rest, everybody, let's all sign a pact to the people of Ghana that we will not do galamsey or allow galamsey to be done. We will ban it for 2 years to reclaim our lands, blah, 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 and then everybody will go home fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Very much.
You see, there is an issue at hand. NPP is in power. So sometimes I don't know why Auntie Rhoda is saying that NDC should.
But right now,
NDC members are involved in illegal mining. They should be arrested.
No, we are not arresting anybody. We are all Ghanaians.
You see,
right now
this issue of go and sign peace pact.
No, but they should be arrested.
Will not stop. What I'm trying to say that we
see,
stand for a government of national unity. Every Ghanaian has a right to do whatever he or she has to do legally.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And therefore, all we are saying is, we in the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change, believe that it is not for nothing that God gave us that gold under there. It's to make our lives better.
Yeah.
But we do not know how to handle it. And therefore, we are creating problems.
Yes, so as leaders,
as leaders, we should all, sign the pact to save the environment.
Right.
But the reality is that
I'll read some messages.
No, let me just make signing a pact would not stop galamsey. You see, we should tackle the issue head on. If we are tackling and it's like, oh, NDC is also involved in galamsey and NPP is involved in galamsey, who is in power?
Right, thank you very much. We'll proceed to the next topic, but that would be after I've read I've read some messages from our viewers. Good morning, Bless. What at all does Dr. Josiah want on this earth at this age? He was a state secretary for education in Rawlinson's regime and now chasing salary from National Cathedral. Okay. Bless, good morning. Former President John Ajekun Kufuor should continue keeping his silence. He's behaving as if he's not aware of all what is happening in the galamsey areas. Is he saying he doesn't know what is happening in Ashanti region, galamsey infested areas? God will at his own time pass his judgment. This one here says that Madam Butterfly, I admire your submission. Okay. She's ruling Ayana, not Madam Butterfly.
Madam Butterfly. That's a good one.
Good morning, Pan-African TV. NPP is not just going to opposition, but it's no more going to exist forever. Amen. From Bororo, GH, Damongo, Savannah region. Hey. Right. Thank you for your message, by the way. Ken Williams says that more fire, galamsey is a weapon of mass destruction and a first-degree felony against the state. UN Resolution 2573 of 2029 sees water pollution as a war crime and an act of terrorism. Those involved are guilty of war crime, genocide, and state-sponsored terrorism. Indeed, those involved are potential jail beds of ICC for passing laws to pollute water bodies. Kufuor and his officials are also subject to arrest warrant by ICC, like al-Bashir of Sudan. Okay, Bless, the president has the power to deal with galamsey, but because his people are neck deep in it, he fails to do that. Stephen from Kwabenya. Thank you, Stephen, for your message. Papani, good morning to you. You're saying that, talking about Israel, Gaza and other Israel has done nothing wrong. Look, you're in a house with your family and someone starts beating your children and killing the small ones and defiling the women. Will you look unconcerned? Okay, Papani, thank you for your message. This one here says, good morning, Bless. My regards to your guest as well, especially Prof. I want to vehemently disagree with what Auntie Rhoda is saying about it being a collective fight. It's solely the responsibility of the government to fight galamsey. They have all the mechanisms at hand to fight this menace. Seidu John Paul, former SRC president of the Tamale Technical University. All right, thank you. Another 8 years for the MPP, then Ghana is finished. Look at the way they are destroying our water bodies in the country like there's no tomorrow. They will sell Ghana and check out, and there will be no country called Ghana. From Hello Richard in Akachi. Thank you. Hello. Good morning, Bless. My name is Abdul Rauf Omen from Tamale. In fact, Prof has indeed made my day. She has dissected the issue beyond imagination. She's full of wisdom and deserves to be part of the committee to look at the solution of the distraction that's been meted out to our environment. Okay, she is also request for Prof's contact. We'll see about that. My brother, read my message to my brother, read my message to the end. I beg you. Alhaji Hamza, good morning. Alhaji Hamza says, good morning, my brother. In my humble opinion, it's time for the board of the National Cathedral to be called to order. You are aware the poor taxpayers' money was used to import a stone from Israel for the foundation of the cathedral. 21 houses belonging to our judges were demolished. Our passport office, scholarship secretariat, and a whole lot of state assets were demolished in the name of building a cathedral. And as if that was not enough, $58 million belonging to the nation has been spent on this cathedral. Why build a house of the Lord on lies and stealing in the name of the Lord? The comments made by Madam Joyce Aye is nothing but irresponsible and reckless. All right. Good morning, Alhaji Hamza. I hope you are fine, and I hope you are satisfied now that I've read the entirety of your message. Bless, I thank God that this time President Kufuor is not asking for prayers at the Galamsey sites. In any case, why is he surfacing now at a time the thing has become worse and gotten out of hand? Good luck to his advisors. Nimensa has Pentex Road. Thank you, Nimensa, for the message. Good morning. Please, may I know if all political parties were called to sign in a pact during the Dumso era? Okay. Okay. Emmanuel.
There's always a beginning.
But Dumso and Galamsey are not the same.
Exactly.
They're not the same. You are comparing this one there. You are comparing apples and oranges. Emmanuel Martin Oyedu from Kotafo says the NPP has a very dynamic way of providing for Ghanaians their needs in various ways. We've come this far, and even at the peak of the 2024 general elections, we are ready to serve Ghanaians by listening to what the next government of Dr. Bawumia should do for them. Ghanaians are aware Bawumia is a man of his words, and we need to solve our problems. Yes, we are voting number one for Bawumia and NPP. Greetings to Honorable Brian Champion. Thank you for your message. Good morning, bless. Good morning, bless. Everything about Pan-African TV is propaganda in favor of your paymasters.
And who are your paymasters?
You thought I wasn't going to read your message. I have read it.
It's good you read it.
I have read your message.
To me, TV is also the same.
But how do you even do propaganda?
I don't even know the propaganda. Tell the person that their woman didn't come.
Yes,
to come
an MPP rep was supposed to be here actually. Tabitha was supposed to be here.
To debunk the propaganda.
We made provision. Her chair is still there. It's 9 at 9:38. And you know, Pan-African Television is about the only station where we accommodate all the political parties. So CPP comes here, PNC comes here. I would be shy from PNC comes here. Hajj from CPP comes here.
I said you have been propaganda for CPP because Kwesi Pratt the root is CPP.
You thought I wasn't going to read your message. I've read it. Good morning, bless. Ex-president General Jekum Kufuor is being disingenuous. He should leave us alone. Osman from Takrady. Okay, Osman, thank you for your message. Bless. Please tell Madame Rodlin that in 2020 political parties signed a peace pact, yet about 9 people were killed. Signing a piece of paper is needless. It doesn't equate to action. By the way, we have a social contract with the government. That's why we pay taxes to them to protect us and solve our challenges. Okay, thank you for your message. I'll read this final one, then we proceed to what will be our final topic for the day. Bless. The God of Israel has exposed Nanado by Baba Alaji Pru. Right. Thank you for your messages. Keep them coming. We'll get into our very last topic for conversation. Has got to do with Dr. Joyce Aye. Very interesting comments yesterday as far as the issue in relation to illegal mining. That's illegal mining. The National Cathedral actually is concerned. Right. Since with all the topics that we've done, I first read the story. Let me read the story. Dr. Joyce Aye, a member of the National Cathedral's Board of Trustees, has dismissed concerns about staff payments, including those of CEO Dr. Paul Opoku-Mensah, during the construction halt as ridiculous. Her response follows growing concerns over the project's stalled progress and its impact on staff salaries. Speaking on the sidelines of a symposium organized in collaboration with TD Jakes Divinity School on Monday, October 14, Dr. Aye said, if a project is on hold, it doesn't mean that people are not working to keep it going. I'm surprised. I don't even want to comment on it, as ridiculous as this? No, I won't comment. She further challenged the logic behind the concerns, adding, so you establish an organization. The organization should stop because you don't have money to continue a certain aspect of the organization. Is that it? Answer it yourself. So these are comments from Dr. Joyce Aye. And the conversation on the National Cathedral has been a big one. And I'm tempted to say that had it not been the investigative pieces that the Member of Parliament for North Tong, Kujeto Ablakwa, conducted, perhaps up to now we wouldn't have known that, we wouldn't have known that this is exactly what was going on as far as the National Cathedral is concerned. And I may, in this instance, be sounding like the devil's advocate, but I also believe that, look, of course, if something is ongoing, we are building something. The fact that it has stalled for some time does not mean that people should.
When you are building a house and you are waiting for money, keep paying the carpenters and the masons. Keep paying them.
But no, they are taking decisions. They are taking, they have to go and source for money. They've been looking for money and all of that. All of these things are, take their time.
So
it takes their time.
People contribute to Cathedral just for them to use the money to pay people who are
no, but they are traveling outside abroad, going for conferences.
You see, there is confusion over this cathedral. That's the whole thing. The confusion. I mean, I respect Madam Joyce Aye a lot, and someone will say, I don't want to say anything that would spoil her breakfast. But already the cathedral, the building of the cathedral has a big question mark. Is it a public cathedral sponsored by the states? Is it one sponsored by private sector and the religious bodies? Or is it one that is supposed to be sponsored by the president because he made a promise? We don't know which is which. From the onset, we were told that a president had made a promise to God that if he won, he would build God a cathedral. And of course, we were all thinking that he was going to fund it from his own pockets. Then it came that no, religious bodies were going to fund it, and also donations from private people. The next thing we got to know, a budget had been made and actually utilized from the states, which brought a whole lot of trouble in Parliament because we never thought that we had decided to build a cathedral. Now, Madam Joyce Aye is talking about the project being stalled and therefore all those who are involved in it. My question is, are those people being paid by the states, or are they being paid by some religious bodies or a special fund that they have? I believe that she has not as yet understood that the people of Ghana are not, majority of the people of Ghana are not in favor of us building a cathedral. You cannot go and spend 58 million on a pit and expect that we should still allow you to draw your salary when there is nothing happening there. That's number one. And the NPP presidential candidate is saying, or I have heard him say, that the government will find money from religious bodies and the private sector to build the cathedral. So this whole thing, there is confusion.
So even his government, if he wins, his government is not going to channel any
state funding into it,
right?
He said that he's going to ask the religious bodies and private sector to fund the building. They'll find the money. That was his words. Find the money. And therefore, I think that at this time, if there's going to be any payments, it should come from whatever monies they have collected from the religious bodies or from the private sector. But they should not be drawing money from the consolidated fund or from any public sector.
Why are
funding.
they drawing? Why? So why are they drawing their salary?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know where they're drawing their funding from, and it doesn't say.
Because I think that if they are drawing the monies from the contributions they've received, it's not.
But if they are drawing their monies from the accountant general's list, which I think is the thing, because that is where Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa showed us the salary slip, the payment slip, then that is wrong. They have to refund those monies to us, because actually we have not, as Ghanaians, decided to build any cathedral. You know, so Madam Joyce Ayi, please come again, go again and read and ask questions, because this cathedral has cost us nothing but pay. We all believe in God, and you are saying that you have faith in God. Yes, everybody has faith in God. When the late Ufebuayeng decided to build a cathedral in Yamoussoukro, he did it out of his own money, his own pockets. And I'm sure that was what must have informed our president to say that he was also going to build a cathedral. The difference here is that Yamoussoukro was built by Ufebuayeng in his village. With us, we had to demolish infrastructure worth millions of dollars and end up digging a pit also worth millions of dollars, and still not knowing how we're going to come by the money to finish a cathedral that was not promised by Ghanaians but by a president. It's left with about less than 2 months for his tenure to come to an end, and Madam Joyce Ayi should be speaking to him some more to ask him about his plans for this cathedral, because he said the cathedral will be built and must be built, but definitely not with the money of Ghana. After having put us in debt, after having us scrounge around looking for daily bread, we are not. There's so many churches and cathedrals around this country that can be used for anything. Cathedral is not our priority at this moment, and therefore we are not prepared to spend one more cedi on that cathedral.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah, listen, it's quite sad when I actually saw the heading. Madam Joyce Ayi, she's a stateswoman. Not just that, but a leader of a church. And when I read the story, it kept me thinking. So I asked her, assuming the cathedral was her business, is that how she'll run it? At a time when you have no money to bring in goods into your shop, will you still keep your workers, the number of workers that you have, and still be paying them? Or you are not even able to sell an item a whole month, will you still keep the number of workers you have? That's a question I'm asking her. And the way her posturing, even when she was asked the question, I think it's wrong. As a leader, as a stateswoman, a lot of us look up to her. She shouldn't allow herself to be used by people. For me, knowing who she is, I was expecting her to have resigned from that cathedral brouhaha. The cathedral was a personal pledge by our president to God. How did he all of a sudden turn the whole pledge to a national pledge? I don't think the citizens went to pledge to God to build him a church. And again, that just tells us that it looks like our president has scammed God. You cannot pray in your quiet moment or quiet place and promise God something and turn around and say that whatever you promised God was a family promise or a national promise. No. As the Bible says, he who does not work does not deserve to eat. So why will these individuals be drawing salary when they are not working? What are they doing as far as work is concerned to earn whatever money they are being given? Look, just as the Bible says, God cannot be mocked, so also they should not think that they can mock God by whatever they are doing. When your action is infringing pain on people, don't think that God or your action will go unnoticed by God. People should know that this cathedral has caused Ghanaians pain. When you go out there and you carry out a survey to know the number of Ghanaians in favor or against cathedral, it clearly shows that majority of Ghanaians are against it. So when you have church leaders, pastors, buy into this idea, even after this woeful failure, coming out to say that, look, we will take more salary even when no work is being done. I don't think God is happy about her and about her statement. I am not judging her. But you cannot continue to take taxpayers' money to give to individuals when they are not doing any work. I don't think God is happy about it. And so she should come again. And I don't expect that statement from her. What they should be doing is to be apologizing to Ghanaians for digging the most expensive pit with so much money but nothing to show for it. Has God told Akufo-Addo that he needs a dwelling place? There are a lot of churches out there that if we want a church as a nation, we can go to any of them and worship. I don't think that taxpayers' money should be used at a time when women are giving birth on bare floor, when children in this 21st century are sitting on bare floor learning. There are some schools you go, not even slate. You know, those days in a primary school, we started,
slate, yeah.
Yes, we use slate to learn. There are some schools that do not even have the slate. Let's talk about exercise book or textbooks. In this 21st century, people are still sitting, children are sitting on bare floor. As we are talking now, there are a number of schools that do not have textbooks. And we are using money to pump into a hole that we cannot account for the money that we are being given. And today, some individual pastors are happy to take money for work they haven't done. It is so sad. And some of these things, you see, as Christians, we should not become signboard directing people to heaven and miss it ourselves. Our actions sometimes can deter people even from going to church, because these individuals look up to us or look up to these individuals. And so when we carry ourselves or we do certain things that these individuals think it's wrong, but we seems nothing wrong with it, then it's like, oh, if I'm going to church because of this person or this person that I respect so much and want to be like her, and this is what she's doing, then I must well just sit at home. So we should not let our action, drive people from their faith. And I think that the statement she has said is wrong. I don't support it. No government will pay any worker when the worker decides to vacate his or her post or just go there doing nothing. And this individual shows that there's nothing happening outside. So why should this individual still be paid? I don't think it is right. And if they are being paid using the taxpayers' money, they will have to vomit this money out, because the next NDC government will definitely investigate some of these happenings, and these individuals will have to refund the money.
Right.
Especially when they have not worked for it.
Right. Thank you very much, Prof. Nana Akufo-Addo has sold Ghana for the sole benefits of his family. Vote for Alan Cash come 2024 elections for good governance, from Charles in Ho. Thank you, Charles, for the message. This one here says that Pan-African TV, I'm proud of your discussions every day. What is Dr. Bawumia's position on the National Cathedral building in case he becomes the next president of Ghana? I think we already spoke about that. Ben, you are watching us from Ho, where the Vice President says that when he assumes office, he's not going to pump state resources into it, but it's going to allow private individuals and churches, the Christian fraternity to contribute to it and then make sure it becomes a reality. This one here says that Joyce, okay, please, I'm not going to read out any insulting words. Good morning, blessing your panelists. To Madam Joyce Aye, when you make a personal pledge to God Almighty, all-knowing God, does that become okay, the message isn't so clear. I'm sorry. Okay, hello, Bless. This issue of political party leaders signing a partisan agenda being pushed through by the government to skew the narrative. Don't we have a government in power now? What did they do with the Professor Boateng report? You media people should also play your vigilant role by holding the government to account and not overplaying your devil's advocacy role, which most of it appears as if you are covering up for the government. Abdulaziz in Accra. Thank you, Abdulaziz, for a message very well heard. Akufo-Addo, okay, I think Ken Williams, you have deleted your message. I was just about reading it. Okay. Good morning, Bless. Is our president not having the Navy and the Marine Police to fight the galamsey? We need the president's commitments in solving the galamsey problem. Nathan from Somanya. Thank you, Nathan, and many thanks for your time. Blessed. Okay, I think I already did this one. My time is up. I need to go. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time this morning. Always a pleasure. And to Auntie Rhoda, unfortunately, our MPP guest, and I don't know, I kind of suspected that.
Yes, I cannot leave the studio without expressing my displeasure with the EC, trying to say that voters should check online and using a website. Madam, there are so many people who do not have email addresses. They don't know how to use.
They are not even internet savvy.
They are not internet savvy.
Yeah.
And you are going to disenfranchise a lot of people by this thing.
We are off air.
No, we are not. You're on air.
We are still on air. Yes, I must tell her, because you see, in my village, you will need to be there, physical, to check your name. It's not everybody that has got a phone. Sometimes network is not good.
Yes.
So don't let us go to our various polling stations and on that day we don't find our names.
That's true.
And then you come out and tell us that it was online. Please. That's my message.
You go to Dagbere Buhari, there's no internet.
Exactly.
There. You go to Kulgona, there's no internet. There's no internet in Langbinsi. There's no internet in Wundu. All these places. There's several. As for that one, dear.
She shouldn't hide under those things to disenfranchise people.
Exactly. I agree. Thank you so much to our cherished viewers for your time this morning on the show. The newspaper review segment of the show comes your way once again tomorrow, and I've been battling with time, but I'm going to try my best possible. I understand some of you have been sharing your displeasure about the late start of the program with
Sometimes
me.
It's us.
Yes.
Sometimes it's us.
Yes. You come very early.
Yes.
You come here very early. Yes.
Sometimes
you come here early, but most of the time. Most of the time,
able to come.
95% of the time, I'm telling you,
it's traffic.
95% of the time is due to the fact that the guests come in very late. Yes,
some guests come late.
You come very early.
I come early.
Yes, she comes early.
I come before 8, but there are others who can't get here because of Accra traffic.
Exactly. I'll catch you tomorrow. Do have a pleasant day. Bye bye.
Accra.
truly African.